United States active duty military personnel. Did you see the 90-something-year-old veteran in New York City, the Korean War veteran, that was booted out of his living space for illegal immigrant? Oh, you didn't see that in the news. That's because the liberal mainstream media are enemies of this country. They've been given their marching orders. You don't go to the border. All right, folks, welcome aboard the Max Afterburner podcast. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. We have a lot to cover today. Going to be a solo Whiz rant today. I know a lot of you just dying for this. I'm in my khaki flight suit, man, because I took Joe Caltibiano. Say that 20 times fast. Joe did great today. We took off out of Pompano. Had to wait for a little Wrath of God rain to pass, but Joe and I went out, man. We went and bent the jet around the Everglades, did some low-altitude attacks on some boats, and also on people crossing Alligator Alley, so that was fun. And he did great, man. He was a G monster, so nice job, Joe. So Joe is also part of the Healing Raid. He was huge in the cannabis space, taking a lot of companies public and doing some fantastic work. Now he's in the healing psychedelic space as well. So he and Cody are just doing some incredible work getting it done. I won't let the cat out of the bag. I'll let Joe and Cody and a press release, hopefully in a couple weeks, speak for itself. But pretty fantastic news with the Healing Raid. The message is getting out. The message that psychedelics are here. Psychedelics can potentially heal, and it's going to explode. The psychedelic space is going to explode, which is fantastic. As you all know, I believe there's a chart of the United States, especially, and the world, going straight down, man, heading into a pretty steep nosedive, and then we have the rise of these plant medicines. But it's really interesting, right? You know, I'm sure somebody in Gabon or the middle of the Amazon, you know, is looking at the West going, you know, welcome to the party. Where you all been? We've been using these things for thousands and thousands of years to heal, and you know, you're showing up like, hey, look what we found. We didn't find it, folks. So obviously, all props to the originators of this, the Bawiti in Gabon, keepers of Iboga. Obviously, psilocybin's been around since the dawn of time. The stoned, what's his name? Terrence McKenna. Google this when you have some time, man. Stoned ape theory, right? If you look at the history of man, humans, Homo sapiens, and different sloping forehead marine type of people, at some point we made a radical jump from, you know, that to upright and kind of being a little smarter. And the Terrence McKenna has a great, you know, theory, the stoned ape theory. Like, hey, man, some whatever kind of things, took some shrooms and boom, frontal lobe grew and kind of grew their brain and boom. So really cool theory, stoned ape theory. So a little bit of a rant, not a rant. That was, I haven't got to the rants yet. Trust me, buckle up. But no, just Joe's a great American, donated to the foundation. You can fly in the backseat of our fighter jet like Joe did, make a nice donation to the No Fallen Heroes Foundation to pay for treatment for a veteran or a first responder or one of their family members, and I'll throw you in the back and bend the jet around. And it's funny because he was good. I mean, some people I do the G-warm right before we go out and do full-on aerobatics. You do what's called a G awareness maneuver to get your heart rate up, your valsalvic response to knock out any cobwebs. Like, okay, man, stretching before you're throwing some weights around, stretching for the heart, the mind, and the body. And he was good. There are some people I take flying, man, they're done in the G-warm. They're like, G-warm, all right, I'm good. But he was with it. We did a bunch of loops and it was awesome. So well done. With Joe's donation and his flight, he helped heal potentially 2 veterans or first responders or their family members. Why do I say 2? Because in the old days, I love going to Costa Rica. I love Anthony and Troy and Joe and their team down at Awaken Your Soul. I love Doc Martine and the Mission Within and all the work they're doing down there. But it's a little bit more expensive to travel to another country, to Costa Rica, to Mexico. But God takes care of fools, drunks, and sailors, so base is loaded for Whiz. But God brought some really good people into our orbit and ours into theirs. So I'm putting this out to the universe right now. Last weekend in October, we're planning on having our first healing retreat at home. It's time to heal our heroes at home, and we're going to do it in the great state of Colorado. Sco Buffs. My boy Jack out at CU Boulder, man, playing USC. Fingers crossed after last weekend. But the great state of Colorado, great human being running a place in Colorado, and saving and changing lives. So our director of medicine operations, our beautiful Nicole Fox, just incredible soul, human being, spiritual, medical worker, man, just a true medicine woman, right? And a healer. And it's interesting because old me would have been like, a healer, heals people. Now I know that a healer is the exact opposite. You can't heal anybody. That was my last Iboga retreat, was God going, dude, you got to let some shit go, Wiz. You can't hold yourself responsible for other people's healing, man. They have to do it on their own. It was interesting because let's go back to my first Ibogaine experience where I'm lying there, on my back, and JT and Marcus and, JJ and Robert they were in it, man. And I'm lying there going, all right, God, are you going to hit me with something out of the blue? Am I going to start, purging and everything like that? But I remember lying there and hearing them suffering. It sounded like suffering to me, obviously. And I'm like, I'm an aviator, man. Those are my ground guys. They need close air support. I'm rolling in hot, and I couldn't even help myself, let on anybody else. But I'm like, I gotta help, JT next to me. And God's like, very gently, just kind of brought me back and said, Matthew, he's getting exactly what he needs. I'm like, yeah, but no, man. It sounds like they're in trouble. Gotta help, man. Another gentle little pull. And like, you can look at God. I did, though. God said, trust me. They're getting exactly what they need. Let's focus on you. Let's go. And we went. Listen to episode 7. We went. So after that experience and having a full year and a half under my belt for transition from Top Gun Fighter Foundation to No Fallen Heroes Foundation and providing healing grants, going on retreats, I kind of took it upon myself to make sure people healed. I felt that I had to help. I had to help. And man, if I didn't learn laying on my bed in Mexico, I definitely learned laying on my bed in Costa Rica with Iboga and God. The Iboga to me, folks, was not visual. The Ibogaine, oh my God, dude. I remember going, who made this? Look at the production values on this thing. I mean, spare no expense. The Iboga was clarity, crystal clear messages. And it was, Matthew, these people need to heal on their own. So I bring that tangent up because of Nicole, right? And I've started, old me would have kicked my own ass if I had labeled myself a healer. A healer doesn't heal you. A healer shows you the path, provides the tools, a safe comfort zone to allow you to heal. So it's interesting that a healer doesn't heal. So Nicole is definitely a healer and provides that container, some knowledge, some experience, answer questions, and hold space. That's a healer. So she's an incredible healer. But I bring her up because we do not send any veteran, any first responder, any family member anywhere to do the medicine that we haven't done and go. So Nicole, 2 weekends ago, I believe, out to Colorado. And I still haven't gotten the full debrief, but when she sends me, I was going to say cryptic messages. They're not cryptic. They're pretty like on the other side, filled with gratitude, love, and, just I can tell, I can feel, that connection. And I'm like, all right, good. Because I always, this blonde lady, this blonde girl to me, a year and a half ago gets on a plane for Gabon, Africa. This blonde girl from Michigan going to Gabon, Africa, man. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, I am divinely protected. I'm like, that's all I needed to hear. And for 2 weeks, I'm like, I think I got a random text like, I'm alive. I know you're probably worrying, but everything's couldn't be better. I'm like, okay, whew, son of a bitch. What I'm getting at is we ain't doing nothing to nobody that we didn't do ourselves. Period. So Nicole went to the place we're going to. So let me put up the bat signal right now. And I don't know if Nicole's going to kill me or not, but here's what we're going to do is we're going to go half veteran and half civilian. So last week in October, what's that, 27 through, I think like a Thursday to the Monday, or I'll give you more details as I know them. But if you are a civilian interested in sitting with the medicine, I do believe it will be psilocybin and 5-MeO. Don't quote me, but it's definitely the psilocybin. I believe Nicole did 10 grams. Obviously a heroic dose. Like a microdose, folks, is like subperceptual. That's a macro dose, right? But here's what I'm going to ask of the civilians who go. Can you help sponsor the vets? And I think last time I talked to Nicole, she said maybe 7, max 10, because they have like domes. She showed me the pictures, man. Go to her Instagram account, Flow with Fox, and she's got some pictures. It's the mountains and she, a woman of nature. When she says it's spectacular, I'm like, all right, then it's clearly over the top. But I'm going to ask if you can help support a veteran that you'd go with, okay? I'll get you the pricing and stuff like that. One of the reasons I'm on this tangent is because, again, love Mexico, love Costa Rica, love the mission within, love Awaken Your Soul, but it's essentially double. We can essentially send 2 veterans for the price of a Costa Rica or Mexico to Colorado. 2 for 1s. So Nicole will have more information about the pricing, but we're gonna plus up the civilian a little bit to help pay for a veteran or a first responder. Okay, maybe $2,700. It's 5 overseas, so we're gonna ask to plus that up. So if you are interested, if you're a veteran, go to nofallenheroes.com, click on Contact Us, and there's a healing grant request form. Click on the healing grant if you'd like to request a healing grant through us. I have to tell you, we have a wait list, man, and it's not our fault. Essentially, it's funding, right? This is why we'll talk about what's going on in D.C. More funds, more retreats, more funds. We would do a Costa Rica, Mexico, Colorado. We'd have them going all the time, but I'm not made out of money, and obviously with the economy starting to there's some sand getting thrown in the gears of our economy. We did it, Joe. Donations are tight right now from everybody. That's why I thank you, Joe, for your donation and flying in the jet today. I'm doing my best. So we're if you put in a healing grant request now, there is a wait list, man. And these healing grant requests ain't nobody not need it. And that's what's frustrating to me. And again, I got to meditate, namaste, and do my microdoses. I am doing my best. I promise you, I'm doing my. Susie's doing her best. Nicole's doing her best. Everybody on our team. Dr. Barnes, our chief medical officer, Rosie. She was in New York at the Concordia conference. Props to Doc. Up on the stage. You talk about an underachiever, man. This lady flew the Tomcat. Don't tell her I said this. It's a monster of an airplane to bring aboard the ship. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I was in the Hornet, man, and I was awesome at landing the Hornet aboard the boat. Just ask me. Top hook. I was top hook for a line period. I flew, I think it was 19 perfect landings. Top hook. Of course, tied for top hook with an E2 pilot. I'm like, they should get a disc. They shouldn't be in the same league, man. It's a prop plane. They're doing like 80 knots. They have like all day to make corrections. I got like 15 seconds, man. Come on. Anyway, so Doc, she flew the Tomcat 7 deployments, folks. Some combat experience. Got out of the Navy as an underachiever, clearly, and then became a doctor. So Dr. Barnes, she flew to New York for the Concordia Summit on stage with Jesse from Heroic Hearts and Juliana. Just an incredible group of people. So well done, Doc. Thanks for getting out there on the tip of the spear for us. So the healing grant request, a little bit of a waiting list. If you're a civilian or a first responder too, man, anybody who wants a grant request, a first responder veteran or a dependent of a vet or first responder, you can fill out a healing request. But if you're a civilian and you want to go, here's how we'll do that. You know what? Just shoot Nicole at nofallenheroes.com. Shoot her an email, and I don't know, put in the subject line, Colorado Retreat. We're going to be doing more. Obviously, this is our first one. Nicole went, gave it her blessing, and said, you're going to be blown away by this place. And again, when she says stuff like that, I don't even need to, I trust her with my life. So done. I will be going. I will be honest. I haven't decided if I will sit with the medicine. As if you're a regular listener or viewer, hello YouTube, of this podcast, you know that it's not a whizism, it's a medicine-ism. The medicine calls to you. I can tell you for a fact the 5-MeO DMT, don't call me, I'll call you. I'm good. Maybe some other time in my life, we'll see. I got exactly what I needed. So I'm tight. I'm tight with the 5. Tight with the toad. Psilocybin, I've never done a heroic journey with psilocybin. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be in Colorado just to hold space or in it to win it. But I love Colorado. Always love Colorado. Now my boy's there with Coach Prime, and just love Colorado and the team. We're going to do a podcast down the road with the team where we're going. They're still getting their stuff together, and so we'll talk to them down the road. So Nicole at nofallenheroes.com, subject line Colorado Retreat. And if you're a civilian, like I said, we're just going to ask for you to plus up whatever it costs by a little bit to help sponsor a wingman. And I will promise you that whoever you help sponsor, you will be best friends with that individual for the rest of your life. It's a brotherhood, sisterhood squadron. After you do medicine work with people, I just met you, yesterday. By the time you hop on an airliner home, you're soulmates, and I mean that in the literal sense. So it's so special. I am full of gratitude and humbled by this work. Maybe next week I might have an even bigger announcement. So cool announcement about a big. I won't name it. Again, Cody and Joe can do this. A big Wall Street blue blood investment bank is throwing a shit pot of money into the Healing REIT. And I want to give Cody credit, okay? Because the initial round, them getting airborne, it was all kind of small folks. Not necessarily super small, but here's why I bring this up. Because like a month ago or whenever it was, a couple people at Top Gun Options, another shameless plug to be a member of Top Gun Options. You can get cool deals. I reached out to Cody. I'm like, hey, man, do you still have a little bit of room? He's like, yeah, however much was left in the first initial round, and it got filled up with Top Gun Options folks. They made the minimum investment. And Cody told me, he's like, I'm talking to this Wall Street blue blood bank, and they're like, wait, who are all these, like smaller people that kind of piled in at the end here? He's like, they're fucking we the people, man. You should be happy that this is showing that we the people are jumping in, because in the next round you have to be a qualified investor, and a lot of these people don't meet that. And he looks at me, and I trust Cody with my life. I guarantee he said this. He's like, you don't like it? Don't take the deal. I'll go somewhere else. And they're like, no. I mean, just he's like, what the fuck? These are my people. These are we the people, and they're in. They believe in this project. You should take that as a compliment. So Cody's just a salt of the earth guy. He cares about his people, his squadron mates. So what a great dude. So that was funny. Cody tell me that. He's like, dude, you'll read the press release with the amount of money and stuff, but it was just funny hearing Cody's negotiations in the background. You don't like it? Don't take the deal. These are good people, and they got in before our deadline, and they put the minimum investment in there. What's your problem? I love that. But I'll tease this announcement a little bit more. No, I won't, because I got to get home and do some stuff. There is a bigger, and not as big as a massive Wall Street bank, putting in 8 figures. No, 3, 6, 9. Yeah. I think it's going to be as important as that type of announcement, but we'll save it. The big announcement coming with No Fallen Heroes, and you're going to love it. I cracked me up, man. I was sitting here the other day. So this week was the anniversary of my sister Monica's transition. I don't say death. I don't say passing. She simply transitioned to being in this room with me in those beautiful trees. She was in the sun as I did a loop today. I'd be lying if, every September 26th, you get a little sad. I posted on Instagram her yearbook picture and all the things she wrote about what was going on and what was fun about high school and stuff like that. You just sit here and you wonder, my God, her kids so you mourn. Speaking of Toad and the 5-MeO, my ego completely got nuclear destroyed in the blink of an eye, and it was fantastic. Back on Earth, I still got a little ego. So the ego hurts, obviously, a little bit on that day. But that day, I sent a text to Cody and Daniel about an idea I had about something that you'll find out about shortly, and they were blown away. They're like, dude, we were like sitting in a meeting wondering what we were going to do with this next thing, and we just got your text, and that's it. I was on a phone call with the CEO of this other company that afternoon, and he's like, done. This is let's just do the paperwork and it's done. So I got a big announcement coming. I'm teasing it. It was just me and the CEO on the phone because Cody got on that call late and said, fellas, got to tell you, just got off the phone, but with Phil and Wall Street Bank, and they just gave us Phil and dollar amount from the press release. And it was a God moment. That happened on the 26th of Monica's anniversary. There to steal my Daniel Carcillo, his Daniel Carcillo line, Whiz, there ain't no such thing as coincidences. God winks. So thank you, Monica. Thank you, God, for that day this week. Incredible things going on. All right. Now, for all the incredible things going on, there's always shit going on, man. This week, ladies and gentlemen, the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, did like an audit, did an inspection. You know what they did? They went around to military bases in the United States, Marine, Coast Guardsmen, airmen, soldiers, their barracks, their living conditions. Many of them squalor. You don't even want to Google it. GAO report, military living conditions. Don't look at some of the pictures, especially if you just ate. The toilet's not working, overflowing, mold. They living in shit, in squalor. United States active duty military personnel. Did you see the 90-something-year-old veteran in New York City, the Korean War veteran? that was booted out of his living space for illegal immigrant. Oh, you didn't see that in the news. That's because the liberal mainstream media are enemies of this country. They've been given their marching orders. You don't go to the border. They went to the border under Trump, didn't they? AOC. Kids in cages. There's kids in cages. There's like 15,000 kids they can't find under Joe Biden. A Korean War veteran was booted out of his housing to house an illegal immigrant. You paying attention? You good? I know for a fact, was it one of my son's buddies who graduated from Norwich. I won't tell the base or anything like that. Won't use names or get him in trouble, but they were all booted out of their military housing in a southern state to make room for illegal immigrants. What do you do in the military? You salute and you follow the order. So the GAO, horrible living conditions for our United States military. Stars and Stripes magazine, or the website, reporting on the military and stuff. Stars and Stripes magazine reported this week 1.5 million veterans do not have enough to eat in this country. And the headline went on to say, and they're not seeking help. Now, I know some of you in this country would do the whole, well, that's their fault then. No, then you don't understand. Then you clearly never served anybody. You don't ask for help in the military or as a veteran. I can tough it out, man. Asking for help is weakness in many of our minds. Clearly, I'm sitting here today trying to get that message out that it's the exact opposite. It shows strength. When you can admit, hey, man, I need some help, it doesn't get any more stronger than that. But I get it. I've been that guy lying on the bathroom floor in a dark night of the soul. I ain't asking anybody for help. 1.5 million veterans going hungry in this country. Add approximately 50,000 homeless veterans. So we are booting veterans that actually have government housing for illegal immigrants, and we're adding on top of the 50,000 existing illegal immigrants. The GAO report and the Stars and Stripes article this week could not have been more perfectly timed, with Zelenski trick-or-treating around Washington asking for more money, which the Biden administration and the neocon rhinos are only more than happy to provide. I cannot fucking stand politicians. I'm not going to call them leaders because they're not leaders. I cannot stand these people that give me shit. Whiz, we can do both. No, we can't. How many times did you hear that from Democrats? We could chew walk and gum at the same time. No, you can't. Matter of fact, you're chewing gum and we're falling down the stairs and we just broke our neck. I would rather we do a handful of things well than a lot of things shitty, which is exactly what our country is. We do a lot of things horribly wrong. While some of you pay lip service to we can do multiple things. No, we cannot. We are failing our veterans. We are failing our active duty members. They're living in shitholes, folks. Are you kidding me? I have no idea why retention is down. People aren't staying in. I don't understand why we're not making our recruiting goals. Oh, you don't know that just about every veteran that I know is telling their children not to go in the military? You're shocked at why you can't hit recruiting goals? Folks, you can't make this stuff up. The world is becoming a much dangerous place. Big headline in the Wall Street Journal this week. Russia is learning from their mistakes. You ready for this? Let me lay this on you. I said this day one. I said this before the invasion. They didn't take Kyiv in a weekend. Duh. So they got kicked in the gut at the beginning, and now they settled into this grind, right, of just warfare. What are they doing? They're learning. I said to my Top Gun Options members this week, you never want to go to war against an enemy that doesn't care about human life. Think about this. North Koreans backed with Chinese, wave after wave of human bodies. Vietnam, the North Vietnamese, the Viet Cong, bodies, bodies, bodies. Us, we lose one soldier or Marine or service personnel, we freak out. Of course we do, because we care about human life. That is our strength and also what? Our weakness. Russia. Didn't you watch, what is it, Stalingrad or Enemy at the Gates or whatever, that sniper? Currently in Ukraine, the Russians are like, you retreat, we'll shoot you. So either get shot by the Ukrainians or we'll shoot you if you try and turn around. They don't care about human life. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never served in the military, you've never heard this saying. You ready for this? Quantity has a quality of its own. I can't stand all these booger eaters that like, our technology is superior. And they're like, hey, man, at the end of the day, warfare comes down to a caveman with a rock smashing somebody's skull in. It ain't about ones and zeros and booger eating, folks. I guarantee you that quantity has a quality of its own. So this Wall Street Journal article is like, yeah, and we're kind of, allegedly our M1 Abrams tanks got to Ukraine this week. So Russia is learning. Right now, apparently, they've learned about all the drone and how to defeat those and electronic warfare. I don't think I've ranted about this, but I'll be quick. Joe Biden gave $6 billion to Iranian mullahs who want to kill Americans. He got 5 hostages released. Yay for the 5 hostages and their families. Boo for the rest of Americans who are going to get killed in the future. No, Whiz. Joe Biden said that the Iranians said that they'd only use it for humanitarian stuff. That's what they think of you, folks. They think you are that stupid. Did you see the mullah that day and then at the UN? Yeah, we never said that. And even if we said that, we wouldn't do that. We're going to use it for whatever we want. Mike, these are not serious people. Admiral Kirby, Kabul Kirby. No, the $6 billion that we're giving. And I love how they say we're giving, it's their money. We're just unfreezing it and giving it back. Donald J. Trump, love him or hate him, turned General Soleimani into hair, teeth, and eyeballs. He was one of the world's most wanted terrorists. He was personally responsible, at last count, for 608 sailors and Marines dead in Iraq. When we were in Iraq, he was running around in there with Iranian special forces killing Americans. He killed over 600 soldiers and Marines. Donald Trump killed him in a drone strike. What did Democrats do? They wanted to go to the guy's funeral. They went apeshit. Barack Hussein Obama killed American citizens with a drone strike. Without a court, without a sentence, he was judge, jury, and executioner. Democrats, the president has that authority. So when you kill Americans with a drone strike, if you're a Democrat, it's okay. When you kill a terrorist with a drone strike and you're Donald Trump, it is not okay. So Joe Biden, $6 billion back to the Iranians last week. You know what they did? Like days later, Russia's like, breaking news, we've announced a massive drone contract with Iran. They're building in the middle of Russia a massive drone factory, the Iranians are. So they took the $6 billion that we gave back to them. They're going to make a shitload of drones to send to Ukraine to kill more Ukrainians so Zelenski can fly to Washington to ask for more money. You paying attention? Can you name one country on the face of this planet that taxes its citizens to send that money to another country? From my home state of New Jersey, Senator Bob Menendez indicted, gold bars and cash stuffed into his pants and his clothes from Egyptian. You know Google how many billions of dollars we send overseas to Egypt every year. Can you tell me for what? We're the only country on the planet that taxes its citizens to send that money to another country. Oh, it's to stability, to make the world. Yeah, the world's real pretty fucking stable, isn't it, folks? All that foreign aid is going to great use, isn't it? It is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen, that we are in this position. So the Russians are learning. They're learning the drone technology. They're making their drones better. They are using Ukraine essentially as a weapons testing facility. They're giving all that gouge to the Chinese. They're giving that gouge to the Iranians. They're giving that gouge to the North Koreans. Hey, check out this cool shit we're seeing that NATO is using in Ukraine right now. We laughed, not really, but a month ago when Joe Biden announced he's sending cluster bombs to Ukraine. You mean the cluster bombs that Kabul Kirby said a year ago that Russia was using in Syria was a war crime? Yeah, when other people do things, Whiz, it's a war crime. When we do it, it's needed. I got it. Like General Milley. General Milley is getting ready to retire as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The man killed 7 children in a drone strike. You remember this during the Afghanistan withdrawal? The bombing at Abbey Gate killed 13 of our personnel. A Marine sniper testified under oath. He's like, I had the dude in my sights, and I asked for permission to take him out, and the lieutenant colonel in charge said, I don't have that. No, I don't have that authority. But according to Kabul Kirby, that withdrawal was fantastic. From his perch, everything went great. Joe Biden, it was the best military operation in history type of shit. That's what they think of you, folks. But after the bombing at Abbey Gate, and all of us in this country were like, oh, my God. Bombing, 13 service personnel killed. What an absolute shit show. 2 days later, General Milley. We've just taken out a car with the suspected bombers. What did General Milley call it? This is the exact quote. A righteous strike. 1 potato, 2 potato, hours later, maybe the next day. Turns out that was a car full of 10 civilians. 3 adults, 7 children. The United States of America killed 7 innocent children with a drone. Do you know what happened after a year and a half, after the Pentagon did what? Investigated itself. That's always fair and impartial. Not one person was held accountable. You also want to wonder why veterans aren't telling their children to go into the military, or nobody wants to go into the military, because that is was the last place in America where accountability. Maybe still in the Navy, right? If the commanding officer of an aircraft carrier is asleep on the treadmill or eating or something and the ship runs aground, who's responsible? The skipper. He or she is clipped. Well, I was sleeping, or I was eating, or I was running on the treadmill down in the hangar bay. Well, as the admiral relieving you, I'd be like, you should have spent less time eating, sleeping, or running on the treadmill and teaching people how to drive your boat. You're fired. I think the Navy is the last service with accountability. General Milley, if he had any shred of shame, should have resigned. Or the CENTCOM commander. I forget his name. He was a 4-star Marine general. Somebody ordered that drone strike. But again, when Russia hits civilians, it's a war crime. When we do it, it's the fog of war. Isn't that interesting? War makes strange bedfellows, doesn't it? And it's you start twisting and turning who you are. Cluster bombs are war crimes. Then no, not when we use them. So seeing Zelenski, unshaven like me, with a green T-shirt like me, gallivanting around Washington getting more money makes me physically fucking ill. Shooting. We need to ban guns. Why? Because if it saves just one life, wouldn't it be worth it? Hey, Senator. Hey, Congressman. Hey, Mr. President. How about we legalize psychedelics for therapeutic use immediately for veterans? Why? Because what if it saves just one life? I got a phone full, I got a brain full of veterans and first responders and family members that we've given healing grants to, telling me it saved their life or changed their life. You've listened to the podcast of people. Stas, Slider, Sledge, Nicole, Susie. My God, man. Carcillo. I mean, folks, either Marcus Luttrell, Jared Taylor, Morgan Luttrell, Congressman, either we're all full of shit or we're telling the truth. Why the delay? Come on, Whiz, this ain't your first rodeo. It was a rhetorical question. I know the answer. It's Big Pharma. I jokingly told you walking around psychedelic science in Denver couple months ago. I'm like, they're either feds or pharma executives. And in today's America, those are the same thing. Did you get your 12th booster yet? Unbelievable, the shit that is going on. So in months, what was it? Operation Warp Speed in months. So we can't cure AIDS. 30, 40 years of the horror of AIDS, cancer, AIDS, the common cold. But you're going to tell me you came up with some gene juice in a record amount of time, throw this in your body? Pfft, good luck. So we can move at Operation Warp Speed to get that type of shit approved without testing, really, but that's a separate story. I don't want to get banned from all my platforms again. But a national crisis of suicide, not just among veterans, folks, everybody. First responders as well, but civilians. The mental health crisis in this country is insane. I said this recently, and it ain't popular, and I don't care because it will come to pass someday. I guarantee you, criminals. I'm telling you, man, when somebody's coming out on parole, they should send them to Mexico or Costa Rica and show them. Give them a clean piece of paper. You don't do this, they'll be back in there. I forget what the rate of recidivism is in this country, but it's obscene. You want to stop the revolving door between prison, street, back to prison? You heal these people. It's not giving them a job or trying to do whatever. You give them a new lease on life. I told you, old Whiz, if I heard me talking like this, I'd kick me in the gut and take my lunch money. I was born again. Not that those things didn't happen or anything like that. I had a new perspective. I've told you, episode 7 you can listen to, when I was on my knees begging for forgiveness from my Lord, our Lord, if you're so inclined. And it just looked at me and said, you're forgiven. You don't need this, but here it is. It's gone. I don't make imperfect things. And I guarantee you some of these folks, these criminals, and not to excuse anybody's actions, but man, when I read into some criminals or what's going on, I'm like, oh my God, look at this. What happened to this kid's childhood? I had a horrific childhood, and I jokingly said the judge said either jail or the Navy, but for the grace of God go I. I had a great talk out in San Diego with my brother, Jack Maxwell. The guy, he's an actor, great. First of all, he's a great American, Southie. He did Booze Traveler, right? Caught the cancer and did what? Put Booze Traveler on the shelf and said, I'm going to beat this shit. Beat it. Now he's doing a new series called Spirit Quest. You got to watch this stuff, man. It's getting out there, and I'm going to manifest with Jack that it's going to get picked up because he's just, first of all, he's an incredible dude, but and the way he can just bring people together and connect, it's fantastic. But I was talking to Jack at Ferg real quick. Shout out to Ferg, man. Brian Ferguson. 30 years of service to the Navy. I flew out to San Diego last week on the Midway. Never rains in Southern California except for Ferg's retirement day. It actually rained on the deck of the Midway, but it didn't matter. Congrats, Ferg. Fair winds following seas. My brother, Susan, you're a saint, like my Susan, for putting up with Ferg and Whiz. But it was cool. It had a cool flyby, man. 2 F5s, an F-18, and a Viper. F-16 in the slot, and it was a great party that night. Seeing all the second best fighter pilots in the world I haven't seen in a long time, man. Guido, Chicken, Paco, Gomer, man. It was chock full of American greatness, man. So it was awesome there. But I was talking to Jack about this, and he's like, "Wow, about the criminal aspect and everything like that." And he's like, "What a incredible society we could potentially live in." Right? First of all, you turn warriors into peacemakers like me, and then you turn criminals into not criminals anymore, man. I'm telling you, sometimes I feel like Prometheus, pushing the rock. Was it Prometheus? I'm trying to sound like I'm smart, trying to pull out Greek legends here, but the dude, I think it was Prometheus, said to push the rock up the hill. It feels like that some days, man, where we're just, we're pissing in the wind, so to speak, but we're getting there. We are absolutely getting there. I saw, my brother Brian Bradkey, call sign Spider, send me thing. Hey, the VA had a thing on psychedelics and this and that. It's we're getting there. But again, when I wake up in the morning and I read these healing grants, or Nicole gives me a brief, or somebody asks for a healing grant, it's just so frustrating. We will look back on this time as the dark ages. Like we kind of knew about the healing capabilities of this stuff, and we weren't quick enough. I get that's happening right now. I'm telling you, that's happening right now. But we are gonna regret dragging our feet on this. But you all listened to the last podcast with Rachel Newer from I Feel Love. If you didn't listen to that podcast or watch it on YouTube, make sure you go to the No Fallen Heroes YouTube channel and follow that page. Like it and subscribe to that page. We need to. Those are rookie numbers. We got to bump those numbers up. But MDMA is coming. MDMA is hand to God, maybe 1 year out from being legal for therapeutic use. Just looking at those numbers, folks, better than the last phase 3 trials. This phase 3 trial, 71% of folks with non-treatable PTS, don't add the D, it's not a disorder, it's an injury. 71% of folks with PTS were clinically healed or showed, no clinical. I hesitate to use the word healed, I guess, because that's all relative and stuff like that. But essentially saying I was all of this stuff before, 71% of us are none of that stuff now. So again, the definition of healing is kind of open to interpretation. So really good stuff going on in the Healing Real Estate Investment Trust. I think the name change is coming. I think healing's still going to be in it. Big news out of No Fallen Heroes that I'll get to you. You'll be the second to know when it's formally announced. And Colorado retreat. Email Nicole at nofallenheroes.com if you're a civilian. You want to potentially come the end of October. It'll be a little chilly. It's up in the mountains of Colorado, but still, she's like, it'll be beautiful. I don't know if the leaves are fully changed by then or if it's still kind of beautiful looking, but you'll get to meet me and hang out with me. Don't let that turn you off. And a lot of good stuff. Hopefully the government doesn't shut down, or if it does, it ain't for too long. I can't stand the political stupidness in Washington. It's just, it is a disgrace. Maybe they're going to kick the can down the road until the middle of November. It's just, these aren't serious people. They're not serious people. And I just do not see us pulling out of this nosedive that we're in unless we all start healing. A healed country is where we want to be living, and man, it's ugly out there. So I'm doing my best. If you can throw a couple shekels, I'd be honored. NoFallenHeroes.com and click on donate. Make a monthly recurring donation of $5, man. How about you do a venti upside down caramel macchiato a month to No Fallen Heroes, man. Throw $10 a month in No Fallen Heroes, and that helps. I guarantee you it helps. I don't take a dime from the foundation. We put money. The foundation is a net drain on us, so you don't have to worry about that, unlike some other nonprofits that shall remain nameless that are anything but. I have a day job, so just beware of people that treat this as their I was going to say as their ATM, but I'm not going to say that. As their job. I got 3 other jobs, folks. The foundation is me putting the ladder down. So if you can help, that would be awesome. But I got to get going, man. Go Buffs. I just hope the USC just doesn't pummel. I love all the people that hate Deion Sanders. I don't know what the hate is about. I don't even want to venture into what it potentially could be. He just seems like a good dude. He's his faith. He loves his kids. If he's got a lot of flash or confidence, you have to, man. It's like being a fighter pilot. You don't walk on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier and go, I suck. That's the day you die. So, kind of like he said, like America seeing a black man succeeding, you got a problem with that? I don't, my brother. First of all, I don't see you as a black man. I see you as a soul. I see souls now, man. I don't see this shell. I am you. I am Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is me. I am you. Once you recognize that, man, if you believe in how this universe started, in the blink of an eye, in the fraction of a blink of an eye, the universe exists. They call it the Big Bang. Technically, you and I are all cosmic stardust. We are all the same cosmic stardust, put magically together. So we are all one people, man. And if we can really get to that point where we believe that and act like that, no war, no homelessness, and this world would be a much better place. And that is my mission objective. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge in this market like I am, printing money. Fights on. Namaste. And Bob C. Bossy. Whiz out.